Buck Davidson, I use the Equilibrium Air Light cross-country boots because they're ultra protective, lightweight, and they don't absorb water.
Hi, I'm Andy Griffiths. I'm Bromont 3-day international event, and I'm the technical delegate appointed for the CIC and CCI events. Technical delegate basically is somebody who is appointed by the organising committee to come and make sure that basically all the rules and conditions from the FEI are acceptable to the FEI to sign off a standard which can then be used to qualify the event. Become a TD. I first started riding when I rode internationally for a few years, European Championships, and I was shortlisted for the World Equestrian Games in my youth. I then, from then, I went on. I decided I'd like to try and put it back into the sport after having a rather good time. So I applied to British Eventing, which is then British Horse Trials, I think it was called as this. Became a B steward, and then from being a steward at a national level, I took on some international work, became an international technical delegate. This really started by, I think my first event was in America, actually in Texas somewhere, and I went over with some more officials, not knowing a thing about it, and it was quite an eye-opener in Texas. And from then on, it's sort of grown and grown and grown. I do an awful lot around the world. I develop Eastern Europe, and that was a challenge about 9 years ago when I first arrived in Moscow to start their first ever international event. And the first event we had, I think we had about 6 2-star horses and 10 or 12 1-star horses. And now they're running 3-star levels, ending up to 40 horses, and 2-star level 90, 1-star over 100. So it's really sort of picked up very well. Also, Belarus, Estonia, Latvia. I've even done an event in Chechnya, which was quite an experience, which I won't say too much about. Going back to being a technical delegate, it's all about teamwork, really. You have to be part of a team with these events now. The ground jury, you advise the ground jury on decisions to be made. They are in charge of the event once the event starts. And you work with the stewards, and really to make the event tick. And it's very important, our relationship with the riders. I've been a great procrastinator getting the them and us scenario taken away. I think we have to have a lot more involvement with riders. They're riding the course, and the days past when riders could approach officials, I think it's getting better and better and better. And we do feel now we take it very seriously. Someone comes to us with a genuine problem, we can try and solve it. I think that's reflected in some of the rider meetings now we have on the Friday before the cross country. We get very few questions. We try and solve the problems before the event actually begins. And I think the respect for the riders, the rider reps, is taken really seriously now. And hopefully that can only improve. I'm also chairman of the IUC, which is the International Event Officials Club. This was started about 14 years ago by Gene Mitchell and Bert Spring-Thorum. And it's really to try and help all the officials around the world understand what's going on. In the last few years, we're trying to make it more transparent and have more of an input into the way our sport works by having a representative on the FEI 3-day event committee, and along with the riders representative, we're trying to put forward parts of questions and suggestions to them for their committee meeting. We're at the moment in the negotiations to have a memorandum of understanding, which really is like heads of agreement. So we know exactly what our powers, or not powers is the wrong word really, what we can do and can't do inside suggestions for the FEI. Mainly. I think transparency is our main key these days, and communication. We were trying to communicate. So any official from come on the FEI list and event, it automatically becomes part of the IUC free of charge. And so we have two sponsors who keep us going. MIM, the new Swedish safety club, and Tattersall's 3-day event are our two major sponsors, and we're always looking for new sponsors. Anyone, we're delighted to have anyone come forward. And basically, I think the way forward is to get the officials being able to put their views to us, so we can then pass them on to the committee.